beautiful and beloved people. So today we're going to be talking about masculinity, and we're going to be talking about why we don't have men anymore. Okay, I'm not an exception to that, but when we look at social media, we can see that there's a reduction in the value of men, and when we look at our society globally, we can see that there's a reduction in the quality of men. So the men we have nowadays can't be called men rather, but they can be called boys rather. And there's a difference between a man and a boy, and that difference stems on a key factor that we are going to understand later on. But when I say man, what do we mean by a man? Because people have a lot of definitions of what a man is, and when we talk about masculinity, what do we mean? When we talk about a loss and a reduction of men, what do we mean by that? So when I talk about a man, I'm talking about a man as most philosophers can describe it. When I talk about masculinity, I don't talk about masculinity as most people like Andrew Tate would describe it, which is very toxic. We can agree on that. But when we talk about men and the reduction of men, there are a lot of key factors that have played and that have caused that. And number one is an attack on testosterone, what makes men men. And also number two, the modern society. So when I describe a man is the result of a man is a spiritual, physical being who is in control. A man is a result of the physical makeup that God designed him to be. Okay, well, not just a private organ, but a man is a mature, grown man, a selfless being who has matured from boyhood to adulthood, who's selfless, who's self-sacrificing, who understands, who is ready to sacrifice and provide and protect what is his. That's how I can describe a man. So a man is not, being a man doesn't mean you have testosterone in your body, you move around, you sleep with a lot of women. But what a man entails is sacrifice, protecting, providing, character, virtue, almost like Aragorn from Lord of the Rings. And those things are what make a man. But when we have a vague understanding of what a man is, rather than what a man should be, we get lost and we start to mix up boys and men, of which our society is filled with a lot of boys. And those boys end up causing society to insult men, that we don't have men anymore. And what causes that? So one thing that causes that is because nowadays social media doesn't focus on training young men to be men, which is difficult, because back then we had initiation ceremonies that were focused on teaching young men to move to adulthood with grace and with an understanding. They had an understanding of who they were and what they were supposed to be. But nowadays we have a society that pushes men into the society at the age of 16 or 17, but that's also another discussion. And they go into the society without really a knowledge of what it means to be a man. And if a boy is pushed into a society, into a hostile society, a modern society, as a boy, the boy will still remain a boy, but may even get worse. And we have to get to understand that we are not we're not throwing birds into the air and expecting them to fly. But we need to train young men how to be men. We need to train men how to be men. And that's how we're going to solve this problem of masculinity, the main problem that we're having. So, as I mentioned, the modern society, an attack on testosterone. And the attack on testosterone is a bit of a serious concern, because there are people who think testosterone is dangerous, but how is a gene that was designed by God and placed in your body that makes you to be a man, how is it dangerous? Okay, it's maybe dangerous if you do not know how to take control of it, but how is something that God gave you dangerous? How is testosterone dangerous? If it's in your body, and if it was given to you to make you a man, make you what you are, maybe on how you use it, that's what the problem is. And yes, there are toxic men in this world. We are not going to be ignorant about that and say that there are not toxic men, but we are going to say that it differs on the mindset, and that's why a man is based on the mindset. I've seen grown men who are boys, and I've seen young men who are young children or boys actually who have the mindset of a man, and that's all dependent on the mindset. And so, if possible, if the modern society needs to fix the problem of men, we need to focus first on the mindset, first on what we're doing wrong and why we are allowing young men just to go by their own in the society instead of helping them out, showing them what a man is supposed to be. Yes, we don't have role models, but through reading, we can come to understand maybe what a man is. And one book I would suggest is East of Eden by John Steinbeck, which is a good book and it can help you to understand what a man is. But it's a very long book. But if we want to truly fix the problem of masculinity, the main problem that we are having now, we have to focus on the actual problem and not on the men themselves, but the problem in the society, in the system itself. Thank you very much.